Have you ever stopped to think about the incredible power of words? How a small shift in how we phrase something can change everything. Let me tell you the story of a blind old man whose life was transformed by a simple act of kindness. One morning, a young woman passed by him, and in just a moment, her small change made all the difference. But what she did isn't just about charity. It's about the power words have to shape our reality. What could a single sentence do to influence an entire community? The woman's small act shows us that words are far more powerful than we think. Stick with me, and you'll see how one shift in perspective can change everything. In a crowded marketplace, bustling with energy and life, an old man sat quietly by the side of a busy street. He was blind, his eyes clouded with age and the hardships of life. His only companions were his empty hat, placed in front of him, and the small sign beside it. The sign, written in simple letters, read, "I am blind. Please help me." The few coins in his hat were all he had to survive. But despite his quiet plea for help, no one seemed to notice. People hurried past him, wrapped up in their own lives, paying little attention to his presence. Amidst this crowd, a young woman, dressed in office attire, walked by. She noticed the blind man sitting there, seemingly invisible to the world around him. Something about his tired, weathered face caught her attention, and for a moment, she felt a pang of sympathy. Without thinking much, she dug into her pocket, pulled out a few coins, and dropped them into his hat. But as she turned to walk away, something made her pause. She glanced back at the sign that had been placed beside him. She stood there for a moment, lost in thought, observing how no one seemed to even notice the words on the board. After a few moments of reflection, she made a quick decision. She walked back to the old man, picked up the sign, and turned it over. With a marker in hand, she began to write her new message, carefully crafting each word. After writing, she placed the sign back in front of him, ensuring it was visible to everyone walking by. The words she wrote were simple yet profound. The old man's sign now read, "It is a beautiful day, and I can't see it." What happened next was nothing short of miraculous. As the hours passed, the scene around the blind man began to change. People started walking by, dropping coins and bills into his hat. More and more donations poured in as if a wave of generosity had swept through the crowd. The change was almost immediate. His empty hat was now filling up rapidly, and by the end of the day, he had received more than he had ever hoped for. Later in the afternoon, as the young woman walked back home from work, she passed by the same street. As she neared the blind man, he suddenly called out to her. His voice was filled with curiosity. "Excuse me, are you the one who changed my sign this morning? I've been receiving so many donations ever since. What did you write?" The woman smiled, her eyes softening. She bent down next to him and answered gently, "I just wrote the truth, but in a different way. You wrote, 'I am blind, please help me,' but I wrote, 'It is a beautiful day, and I can't see it.'" The old man was amazed. It was such a simple change, but the impact was undeniable. He realized in that moment that the words we use don't just communicate our thoughts, They shape the way people perceive us and the world around us. Words, it turns out, have an extraordinary power. When you hear the word elephant, for example, your mind instantly conjures up an image of a large, majestic animal with a trunk. That's the power of words. They create vivid mental images. But this isn't just true for objects. Words also evoke emotions. Words like joy and hope generate positive feelings, while words like anger and fear bring forth negative emotions. It's not just the words themselves, but the mental images and emotional responses they trigger that give them such immense power. This simple story reminds us that the words we choose can make a world of difference, not just in our own lives, but in the lives of others as well. The woman's thoughtful choice of words turned a situation of solitude and neglect into one of generosity and warmth. Her small act of changing a sign became a reminder of how words can open up new possibilities, transform perspectives, and inspire action. When we choose our words with care, we hold the power to influence the world around us. Whether we are aware of it or not, the language we use can create ripples that shape our reality. It's not just about speaking, it's about making an impact. So, next time you speak, think about the words you use. How can they influence your life and the lives of others around you? Are you choosing words that inspire, uplift, and create change? Words have the power to shape your world, one sentence at a time. Let's now look deeper into how we can harness the power of words to make a real difference in our lives as we move on to the next chapter. The previous section discussed the hidden power of words, and now let's dive deeper into how the words we choose can shape our lives and the lives of those around us. Words are not just simple sounds or characters. They carry an inherent power that can influence how we think, feel, and sometimes even how we act. Words can be either positive or negative, and the choices we make in our speech can have a profound impact on our own lives and the lives of others. Positive words, like affirmations, can improve our mental and physical health, boosting our motivation and resilience in times of difficulty. When we speak kindly about ourselves, we nurture a strong spirit and are better equipped to face challenges. Words have the potential to uplift us, helping us push through hardships and achieve our greatest goals. On the other hand, negative words can have harmful effects, not only on ourselves but also on those around us. Negative speech can make us feel powerless, diminish our self-esteem, and lead to self-doubt. It's not just the words themselves, but the mental images and emotions they evoke that hold the power to drag us down. In fact, most of the time, we are engaged in an inner dialogue, and this internal conversation has a tremendous impact on our outlook on life. The thoughts we repeat to ourselves gradually shape our perspective, confidence, and ability to face challenges. This is why so many spiritual teachers encourage us to be mindful of how we speak to ourselves. Positive self-talk builds inner strength and resilience, empowering us to confront the world with greater confidence. It's undeniable that the way we treat ourselves reflects how we treat others. People who choose their words carefully and speak kindly to themselves are more likely to earn respect and trust from those around them. In contrast, careless speech and uncontrolled emotions can damage our relationships and diminish the value of our words. Words are also the foundation of our relationships. When we speak with kindness and encouragement, we build strong, meaningful connections with others. Negative words, on the other hand, can create misunderstandings and harm our relationships. These words can fracture trust and create distance between people who may have once been close. Ultimately, the words we speak reflect who we are and influence the world around us. Each word has the potential to create either a positive or negative impact. So, the next time you speak or think, remember that each word carries power. By choosing our words wisely, we can shape the life and relationships we want to create. Let your words be a source of kindness and strength, not only for others but also for yourself. Remember, every word you speak carries its own power. Choose your words carefully to create a meaningful life and build strong relationships. Don't forget to follow us to explore more lessons about the power of words and their impact on our lives.